Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Geek Dad Reviews. I'm Brian West.
And I'm Ryan Thomason.
And tonight we're going to be reviewing a Netflix movie, Mowgli.
Netflix has not made enough movies in the last years. And so they decided we're going to make a remake of a remake.
Well, okay, so...
remade.
So this movie is a weird history. Now, first of all, Netflix has not made a lot of good movies, so I had my fingers crossed that this would be one of them. We talked about Bird Box last week. I don't think we're going to put that up yet, but another movie that we were not the biggest fans of. So we had our fingers crossed for this one. It had a lot of good talent behind it, mainly Andy Serkis, the stop motion master who was behind, well, not stop motion, but a motion capture master. Who's done the Planet of the Apes movies. He was Smeagol and Gollum in Lord of the Rings. This was, I believe, his first director's debut, and so he decided to mocap Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, which is the Jungle Book story that we all know and love. Or is it? The big thing with this one is that it was much more to the book, the original book that was made, and a lot less, I don't know,
It's a lot less than the animated one that you know about.
Yes, there's definitely no songs. There's no I don't even remember the songs in there, but there's no Baloo the bear singing happy songs in this one.
Not like some big huge fluffy bear that you just want to snuggle with.
There's no bare necessities sung in this version.
Yeah.
And in the original book. So the original book was much a darker tale. It had it was a kind of a metaphor for man's greed and moving into the jungle, basically wiping out the jungles, and there's a lot of more adult themes in it. And so this was supposed to be a take on that. And so this movie was originally supposed to come out the same year as the Jungle Book. It got pushed back, and then because they did a live action Jungle Book in 2017. This was supposed to come out early. Well, I guess it was the same year, but early 2018. It got pushed back. The studio watched it, wasn't 100% sure what to do with it, and then basically just sold it to Netflix, which, if anybody knows anything about Netflix and how they get their movies, a lot of times it turns into, we don't think we can make any money off this, so let's sell it to Netflix, and Netflix will just air it, right? So a lot of times it means movies. That's why they tend to have movies that aren't the greatest movies. Now, I know they are up for an Oscar with, what's their new movie they got out right now? Roma. So that's a Netflix movie that apparently could win an Oscar for Best Picture. But all the other movies aside, was not sure what to think of this, so I sat down and I said, you know what, the cast is entirely too good. Andy Serkis is too good of an actor, and I can't imagine his directorial debut is going to be a disaster. And me and Ryan decided to watch Mowgli, and I'll be honest, man, I was actually fairly surprised how much I enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I mean, I didn't watch it with my kids, who I tried to get them to watch it with me. We just couldn't get the timing right. So I did just watch it by myself. And being an adult watching the Mowgli movie by myself, I could have been very inclined to turn it off, but I sat through and I watched the whole thing.
I will say, if you're an adult and you're going to watch a Mowgli movie, this is the one. I can't sit through the Jungle Book by myself. Now, I'm not talking about the cartoon. I love the cartoon. That movie is Disney classic fun, catchy songs, and the new Jungle Book animated movie is fine. It's just, I just didn't, there's nothing new about it. I just did not care. The best parts about the Jungle Book are the songs, and there really were no songs in the animated or in the live action version. I just didn't care about it that much. This one at least has it's dark, and it moves fast, and it makes you feel.
Actually, like Shere Khan's kind of a little more scarier.
Shere Khan's an asshole in this. Like a serious asshole.
Killing all the man's cattles.
Yeah, and I did love how they did the actors. They put them in mocaps, in mocap suits, so the animals had a strangely like human faces, even though they were the animals.
Yeah, I think it was to make it so that they would be more like you feel more of a connection.
Yeah, well, it works because they were very human emotions, and real quick. Well, we'll get to that in a second. I guess the cast in a second, but the animation in this was fantastic. I mean, I thought maybe because they sold it to Netflix, I was wondering what the problem was going to be. Was it going to be bad animation? Was the movie going to be bad? No, the movie was good. The animation was fantastic. It was a little off-putting, like I said in the beginning, watching snakes and Black Panthers that had human face kind of movements with their faces. But
Yeah.
to your point, it gave you a much more of a connection to the characters, and you really, I don't know, they felt much more lifelike. You became much more attached to these characters. And the story, even though you know the characters to an extent, you kind of know the story, you don't really know the story. I mean, this has hunters, and it has people dying that you do not think are going to die, and it's much darker, and the ending is completely different.
Yeah, the elephants and the boa.
Oh, the elephants were cool. I like how they had the elephants with like the earth had kind of grown on them.
Yeah, and the one with the messed up with the missing his tusk.
Missing tusk.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's they have a lot more of the wolves and the wolf pack, and Baloo the bear is a different version of the bear, and the motivations are kind of different in this too. I mean, in the original cartoon, they raised Mowgli and protected him because they were nice, right? And then they decided he was too old, and they had to get him to his own village, and Shere Khan wanted to kill him because his parents were hunters.
And they got rid of the King Louie. There's no
King Louie in this.
Well,
in this movie,
and the monkeys are being monkeys, but
the monkeys are assholes. They work for Shere Khan.
Yeah, they're jerks.
Well, in the original one, Shere Khan hated Mowgli because he hated man because they hunted him. In this, he's just a murderer. He loves the taste of humans, and he wants to eat Mowgli because he kills his whole family.
Yeah, and then he's trying to not even kill Mowgli. Mostly he's just trying to screw with the pack.
Yeah, and then the pack actually saved Mowgli because there's a little spoiler, but it's early in the movie. They save him because they think that he can eventually protect the pack because he's going to be a man and he can unite men and animals. Mm-hmm. It makes much more sense why they raise him than, let's just do the nice thing and raise this human person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I loved how much they tried to make Mowgli a wolf. He even ran like a wolf and acted like a wolf and was treated differently by the other wolves because he's not a wolf. So they're like, you're like a weird man. We're not, we don't like you.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching it. When I left the room, I did pause it. I didn't just leave it on and leave the room and come back and just kind of piece together whatever happened.
It's an hour and 40 minutes, so it doesn't feel too long, and it felt just long enough. It never really drags on or lags. It kind of moves along pretty quick. And the cast, I want to give it a quick shout. The voice cast in this is fantastic. Christian Bale plays Bagheera. Cate Blanchett plays Kaa the Snake. Benedict Cumberbatch is Shere Khan. Naomi Harris is one of the wolves. Andy Serkis is Baloo the bear. Who we got anybody else in here? Frida Pinto, she plays herself. A village girl. This cast was phenomenal. And honestly, if I could say, if you're sitting there still wondering, how come it didn't go to theaters? The only thing I can think of is I think this movie would have bombed in theaters because this movie is not for small kids. This is I would say
for the kids that are under 13, but 10 at least.
Yeah, I mean, anything younger than 10, there's some dark stuff in here. And I have a feeling a lot of parents would have been like, let's take my 2 and 3 and 4-year-old to this. Yeah. And they would have left the theater crying and what is this? And there would have been a lot of angry parents.
The parts with Boots and the hunter.
Yeah, that hunter tent is rough.
Yeah,
that is real rough.
Tent, my daughter would not have been able because she wants to be a veterinarian, and anytime she's an animal being mistreated, she gets sad.
Me and my wife audibly made a gasping noise when the big reveal happens in the tent. We were like, oh my god, no! It's I won't ruin it for anybody, but I think this movie, because the truth is the target audience in this is teens and honestly older people, and I don't think that's who would have went and saw this movie, and I think that's why I think they just didn't know what to do with this, so they sold it to Netflix.
Yeah, it was a good Netflix movie.
Yeah, honestly, it's a great Netflix movie. It's one of the better Netflix movies.
Like you said, it could not have gone anywhere else. It would not have done well in the theaters.
No, it's definitely worth a watch. I thought it was really good. If I was going to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It was entertaining. It was the animation was really good. Obviously we all kind of know this story, even though this one's different. It's still the Jungle Book to an extent. But if you got some time, it's free on Netflix. Me and the wife had a couple beverages and just watched it together with no kids, and we both really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this definitely, give it a watch, everybody. I recommend watching Mowgli. It's worth a watch. The Legend of the Jungle. It's free on Netflix right now. You can stream it. Check it out.
Give it a chance.
But do not let your younger kids watch it. Or if you have a little bit older kids who are very sensitive, maybe not let them watch it either. This movie, life in the jungle is violent and rough, and this movie does not shy away from that.
Yeah, so be prepared, but also be prepared that there's still a lot of parts of the movie that's good.
Yes.
So and
good movie.
It's not all violent or anything like that.
No. It's not like a murder. There's just some definite stuff that will make squeamish younger children cry, guaranteed.
Very much.
So, all right, check it out. Geek Dad Report official. Me and Ryan agree. Give Mowgli a watch. Legend of the Jungle. Good movie. Check it out. Do not let what you think you might have heard about it steer you away. It is definitely worth watching. So, thanks for joining us, guys and gals, and everybody in between. And until next time, stay awesome, everybody.
And stay nerdy, everyone.